This is an ordinary Nerf gun. And this is a monstrosity. Now, about a month ago, I bought a bunch of these short-length darts to use on my Nerf gun mod. You can find it on my TikTok, but whatever. But that thing can only hold 5 of these at a time and only shoots 1. So I really needed a better way to use all these darts. So I came up with this 3-barreled fire extinguisher powered contraption. Okay, wait a minute. What? Now, I thought of many potential ways to use my surplus of darts, but my favorite idea by far was to make a big blaster that shot a bunch of darts out at once, kind of like a Nerf shotgun, but on steroids. The next step, of course, was figuring out how I was going to fire all those darts in the first place. I ran through many tests and ideas before I figured out that I could just line up all the darts in one barrel and shoot them out with pressurized air. Now, at first I thought about building something similar to my air cannon from my air cannon video, but buying all the various PVC cements, pipes, and valves would cost a lot of money, and reusing my old one would be out of the question since I left it in another state. No matter which way I looked at it, finding or building an air tank and a valve to release all that air was going to be expensive and or complicated. Now, as it turns out, I've actually used something that has everything I need and even a free pressure gauge built right in. That, of course, is a fire extinguisher. That's when I ran down to the hardware store, picked up a fire extinguisher for less than $30, emptied it, cleaned it, and then took it apart. Now, after making a quick prototype and making sure my idea worked, the first order of business was adding a way to repressurize the fire extinguisher. Now, instead of cutting a hole in the extinguisher and using a bike valve, I instead opted to use some brass fittings, as this would both look nicer and allow me to use higher pressures. Now, the rest of the build was pretty simple. All I had to do was design a barrel, and I'd be done. But that's when I started thinking, why stop at 1 barrel? What if I had 2 or maybe even 3? Because with 1 barrel, you can only fire off, 10 shots. But with 3, you can have 30. Now you might be thinking, who in their right mind needs a blaster that fires 30 darts all at once? And I completely agree with you. No one in their right mind. So I threw up a quick 3-barrel adapter in Tinkercad and 3D printed it. This is precisely the point where I start running into issues. I was running low on 3D printer filament, and with no filament, I can't 3D print anything. This is also what the first test video looked like, and as you can see, the range looks pretty terrible. Now, to increase the range, I would need to make the barrels thinner, because with thinner barrels, I would have less air escaping and more air pushing the darts out. However, I could not find barrels of the right size in any store, and 3D printing was out of the question, because 3D printing 3-foot-long barrels was gonna take too much filament. The only option I had left was making my current barrels thinner. Now, the solution that helped me thin down my barrels and shoot my darts a longer distance can actually help you build a Nerf blowgun that shoots harder than any other. Now, what you will need is a material about the same thickness as paper. So you can use either paper, wrapping paper, or some kind of plastic. Now, you will need enough of this material to be slightly longer than your barrel and wide enough so that it makes your barrel thick enough for the darts. Now, the proper thickness should be something that makes your darts sit a bit tight in the barrel, but not too tight so that they still blow out at a fast rate. Finding this balance might be tricky, so I recommend cutting too much material so you can cut down little by little until you get the perfect width. Oh, and later on we'll be taping this, so make your barrel a bit loose to account for that. And with the help of a pencil, I will roll it up until it can fit inside my barrel. And once inside the barrel, you can unravel it a bit by twisting in the opposite direction. So that it's snug. Now you can see how well it fits. So right now, it's actually perfect. So what we're gonna do is cut off the ends and then tape the paper or whatever material you chose to your barrel. And now you have a blowgun that fires darts pretty well. Now the barrels were shooting much faster and harder than before, and this is only at 50 psi, half its rated pressure. And with my remaining filament, I 3D printed some barrels and used a wooden bar with some paracord to secure the barrel assembly and stop it from wobbling around. With this blaster now complete, it is finally time to test it out. Ah! So yeah, that is how I made the greatest Nerf shotgun in existence. Now sadly, I don't have any full-length darts to test out on this thing, so I'll have to end the video here. Make sure to leave a like if you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!